by the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post. Bolton claims President Trump asked the Chinese president to help him win re-election. Writing this about President Trump during a meeting last June, quote, he then stunningly turned the conversation to the coming U.S. presidential election, alluding to China's economic capability to affect the ongoing campaigns, pleading with Chinese President Xi to ensure that he, Trump, would win. Trump has stressed the importance of farmers and increased Chinese purchases of soybeans and wheat in the electoral outcome, unquote. And Bolton claims that President Trump went even further to try to win over leaders such as President Xi. According to the New York Times, quote, Mr. Bolton describes several episodes where the president expressed willingness to halt criminal investigations, to, in effect, give personal favors to dictators he liked, citing cases involving major firms in China and Turkey. Quote, the pattern looked like obstruction of justice as a way of life, which we couldn't accept, Mr. Bolton writes, adding that he reported his concerns to Attorney General William Barr. And as for why President Trump would make these decisions, Bolton writes, quote, I am hard-pressed to identify any significant Trump decision during my White House tenure that wasn't driven by re-election calculations. Right, and Bolton goes on to say that the aid to Ukraine was, in President Trump's mind, completely tied in with the Ukrainian government announcing investigations into Joe Biden.
Look, if Donald Trump were still president, the Russians would be in Kiev already. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
Ambassador, when it comes to Ukraine, you had to say that Trump told you directly that he did not want to send them any military aid until they turned over materials related to Clinton and Biden. And you claim Trump's true intentions were widely understood among White House staffers, the Pentagon, and the intelligence community. In fact, you tried 8 to 10 times to get him to unfreeze the aid. So once and for all, can you tell us whether there was a quid pro quo in your view?
Well, sure. I mean, I think in Trump's mind, the concern he had in Ukraine had absolutely nothing to do with the level of corruption in the country. And there was a lot of corruption, and still is. There's a difference between a reason and a pretext, and for Trump, that was a pretext. He believed, and he said it to many people over time, that Ukraine, as he put it one time, tried to take him down in the 2016 election. Now, I think that was essentially a fantasy, but he was hearing from people outside the government that was the case. And what I think evolved is he tried to figure out in his own mind how to try and use this issue with Ukraine. He discovered this security assistance, and he thought that might do the trick in order to get investigations of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. And that it wasn't necessarily revealed simply in the conversation that I mentioned in the book. I think everybody dealing with the broader Ukraine policy issues understood it. You know, when Gordon Sondland, the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, testified before the House, he said, I think I have this right, he said everybody was in the loop. Now, if he meant everybody was in on the president's strategy, that's not correct. But if he meant everybody understood what this was about, yes, I think that is correct. I think we all understood it.
So that, just so that I'm clear, Ambassador, so it is your understanding then that President Trump wanted information on the Bidens and on the Clintons in return for unfreezing the aid?
Precisely.